So, with that being said, let's get started with the first story. Story that I just can't believe. I can't understand what's going on. Gunnar, I need you to play a video for our viewers and subscribers because right now this thing's blowing up all over social media. Hit it, Gunnar.
Well,
Thanks so much. That's really our time. I apologize.
You can't do that to black media.
I can't do that to white media and black media because my wife has to go on at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Oh, I'm in trouble.
Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for my community.
All right. Seriously, because I'm seeing how the Biden campaign is just trying to push this aside, but there's no way you're going to walk away from this. So just to build better context of what's going on, there's an article from The Hill. Joe Biden defended his record on race to Charlemagne the God on the popular radio show The Breakfast Club on Friday, at one point telling the host that if you support President Donald Trump, then you ain't black. The aide tried to cut off the interview after 11 minutes because the aide probably kind of, knew like, oh, wait, this is going to go south really bad. And
he's actually asking not the softest softball questions that you could possibly do.
And on top of that, too, he decides to just interject. But then Charlemagne was jokingly saying to the aide, you can't do that to black media, to which then Joe Biden says, I do that to white media and black media because my wife has to go on at 6 o'clock. I mean, way to make yourself sound like not only weak and being guided by other people, but you're saying, oh, you do that to white and black media? I've never seen that. In the gaffe-prone interviews that I've seen with Joe Biden, I didn't see any of his aides automatically cut off an interview like that unless it's was really going south. But for the most part,
only town halls.
Yeah, only town halls and everything else. I mean, it's ridiculous. And Biden went on to ask him, you've got more questions? And, well, he said, well, I tell you what, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. And again, Joe Biden went on to state, take a look at my record, man. I extended the Voting Rights Act 25 years. I have a record that is second to none. The NAACP endorsed me every time I've run. Come on, take a look at my record. Well, we have taken a look at your record, Joe Biden. Way back during the Civil Rights Movement, you were for, segregation. You were against busing. You were against desegregation. You were working with known segregationists.
You eulogized
in the United States
Thurmond.
Congress. Yeah. And he said that those guys were good guys that he was working with, the ones who wanted to stop the Civil Rights Movement. I mean, yeah, we've looked at your record, Joe Biden. You're god-awful. And plus, you were for the 1996 crime bill.
You helped write it. You weren't even part of it. You were leading it. You led the writing of it.
So, again, what's the consequence?
And Corn Pop. We can't forget about how you treated Corn Pop.
Oh, no, hold on. But it gets worse because we talked about this on the show, too. This is going to be another treasure trove video that the Trump campaign, super PACs related to Trump, are going to take advantage of. What do I mean? Well, President Trump's re-election campaign blasted former Vice President Joe Biden on Friday for saying that if you support Trump, then you ain't black, calling the remarks racist and dehumanizing. We are in an upside-down world that we're living in right now. Because remember, Bernie Sanders said that Trump is the most dangerous psychological president in the United States. He's a racist, he's a homophobe, and all this stuff. But here you have Trump and his supporters basically saying something about Joe Biden. And look, I mean, it's a crazy world we're living in. White liberal elitists have continuously dictated which black Americans are allowed to come to the table and have a voice, said Katrina Pearson, a senior advisor to the Trump campaign and leader of its Black Voices for Trump group. It is clear now more than ever, following these racist and dehumanizing marks, that Joe Biden believes black men and women are incapable of being independent or free thinking. He truly believes that he, a 77-year-old white man, should dictate how black people should behave. Biden has a history of racial condensation, and today he once again proved what a growing number of black Americans and I have always known. Joe Biden does not deserve our votes. And this goes to something that myself and Daniel have said numerous times throughout the early days of the primary and then past when Joe Biden got the nomination. That is, Joe Biden is not only a flawed candidate, but there is a treasure trove of attack ads that the Trump campaign Trump super PACs and Donald Trump himself are going to use against Joe Biden. The debates are going to be hilarious. They're going to be an epic disaster. We are going to be covering these debates, and we're also going to be covering the general election as well. But at this point, Joe Biden's worst enemy isn't Donald Trump or Bernie bros or progressives. It's Joe Biden. But this is because the DNC decided to commit election fraud again. This is because corporate media kept saying throughout 2019 that Joe Biden is this clear front runner, that he knows what he's doing. No, he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing because he's a senior citizen who's half in the bag at this point. And now you have this gaffe that is being used. And there's so many people right now on social media that are speaking out against this. At this point, I read even Simone Sanders' Twitter comment about what Joe Biden said. And
What kind of a pretzel is she right now?
I don't know. I'm curious to know about the mental gymnastics that she's playing in her head in regards to how do I unfuck this situation that Joe Biden once again did to his handlers. Do you guys even know how to handle a crazy senile old man? Because Trump and his people do. I mean, come on. And that's not saying much. The Democrats, way to shoot yourselves in the foot. Bernie Sanders, this is your friend, your pal, then you own up to it. But I don't want to hear you lecture at us on how we need to support Joe Biden because he's going to beat Trump and he's a good guy, you're a good friend. That's your friend, that's your pal, you keep him.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about this. We talked about Sanders the other day. Sanders, you have tried to force your own delegates to sign a thing to say nothing about this. So Bernie Sanders is also implicit in a lot of this happening. Now, to Joe Biden's point, how are we in a position where when we watch this debate that's coming up, assuming Joe Biden decides to show up for it, it's such a weird position that I know in my head if we watch that debate that there's going to be a couple points in the debate where I'm going to be like, yeah, Trump, you got him. How am I in a position where I can even think that? It's absurd. Trump is a terrible president. It's like we don't have to talk about it. We all know he's a terrible president. Every other news station has talked about this, but no one's talking about what Joe Biden is doing. Joe Biden is doing worse. He's right now ahead of Trump, and he's like, look at me, look at me, look at me. He's less ahead of Trump than Hillary Clinton was at the same period of time, so that doesn't mean all that much. And Trump is dealing with a depression and a pandemic, and he's still not beating the difference that Hillary has. So here's the thing. I think that we should take Biden's logic and run with it. Since the Democratic Party and the Democratic media is going to say anything blue no matter who. Remember that? Blue no matter who. So I think that we have just realized if we take Biden's logic and actually flip it to the extreme point, I think we figured out how to solve racism, everyone. Every single black person just doesn't vote Democrat. They're no longer black. That's Biden's own logic. It's stupid logic. It doesn't make any amount of sense. It's entitled. It's racist in a way. It's it's like saying I determine what you should do. It's so weird that I'm in a position where I'm like I kind of have to agree with Trump on this one and his people because it's a thing that I would say anyway. But I'm annoyed that I have to do that for a Democratic candidate. But it's also not that surprising. Biden is his own worst enemy. Every time he goes out in public, he makes a mistake. So their entire plan is keep him behind a wall, don't let him talk. That's only going to work for so long.
Yeah. One other note, too. God, I would like to know what's going on in Barack Obama's head right now because you busted because he busted his ass off on that first Super Tuesday to get all the Democratic candidates to rally around Biden.
This is the Kit has said before that Trump is Obama's legacy. I'm not sure that's entirely true. However, if it happens but if it happens now, if Biden loses to Trump, Trump is absolutely the legacy of Obama. Absolutely. It's like because you could make arguments that it's not the case right now, but if it happened, Obama made this happen. Obama chose Biden as the nominee. Obama brokered the entire deal. So if Trump beats Biden, thanks Obama.
Thanks, Obama. And one final note, too. This is, again, to the Vote Blue No Matter Who crew, to the diehard Biden supporters. I mean, what's your excuse this time? I mean, it seems that Joe Biden seems to make every single key demographic group angry at him. Now, we all know Trump's a horrible human being at this point, but, his campaign's not reaching out to Latinos. His campaign's not reaching out to millennials. His campaign's not reaching out to independents or progressives or working class people. Now he just pissed off black voters. I mean, really, what is your pathway to victory? And explain to me, vote blue no matter who, people, why the hell I shouldn't vote third party. Because at this point, I'm now fully convinced that I'm going to vote third party. There's no way you're going to unconvince me at this point because I have to have dignity and self-respect. And I'm not going to vote for two senile old men, both of whom are racist, homophobic, and clearly have issues with relating to working class people. I don't trust Joe Biden. I don't trust Donald Trump. It's time to break this two-party system.